Have you ever thought you were meeting someone you loved, only to discover a shocking secret that changed everything? Well, stay tuned till the very end, because what you're about to hear will leave you speechless. And before we dive in, make sure to hit that like button and subscribe to the channel so you don't miss stories like this one. It really helps us bring you more. It all started on a breezy Saturday evening. My name is Daniel, and for the last 6 months, I had been in what I thought was the perfect relationship with a girl named Emily. She was funny, kind, beautiful, and she made me feel like I mattered in ways no one ever had. We met through mutual friends at a small gathering, and our connection had been instant. She had this sparkle in her eyes, this warmth in her smile that made me forget all my worries. Every late-night conversation, every inside joke, every moment spent together built this image in my heart that Emily was the one. That night, Emily texted me saying she wanted me to come over to her house for the first time to finally meet her family. I was nervous, of course. Meeting the parents is always a big deal, but she reassured me that they were nice and would love me. My chest was pounding with both excitement and fear. I wanted to make a good impression, maybe even win them over like I had won her heart. I dressed neatly, casual but respectful, exactly how Emily told me to. When I arrived at her house, my palms were sweaty. It was a cozy 2-story home in a quiet neighborhood, flowers blooming on the porch, and soft lights glowing from inside. I rang the bell and expected Emily to answer with her familiar smile, but instead, the door opened to reveal a woman. She was elegant, graceful, and strikingly beautiful in a way that made me pause for a moment. Her long auburn hair fell gently over her shoulders, and her hazel eyes studied me curiously. "You must be Daniel," she said softly, her voice both welcoming and filled with something I couldn't quite identify, sadness, maybe? I nodded nervously and introduced myself. She smiled, invited me in, and said Emily would be downstairs soon. As I followed her into the living room, something felt unusual. The house was quiet, too quiet. The walls were decorated with family portraits, but every single one had Emily and her mother, never with a father. That didn't bother me much, but the expressions in those photos were haunting. Emily's smile always looked forced, almost like she was hiding something. We sat down, and her mother, who introduced herself as Claire, began asking me questions. At first, they were normal: where I studied, what I wanted to do with my life, how serious Emily and I were. But then, the questions became strange. She asked if I truly loved Emily, if I could handle secrets, if I believed in forgiveness. I tried to answer honestly, but each question left me more unsettled. Why was she talking like this? Why did it feel like a test? After what felt like an eternity, I asked politely if Emily was coming soon. Claire hesitated, looked down at her hands, and then sighed deeply. "Daniel," she began, "there's something you need to know about Emily before she comes down. Something she hasn't told you yet." My heart dropped. My mind raced with possibilities. Did Emily not feel the same way? Did she hide something about her past? Claire's eyes met mine, heavy with emotion, and she whispered, "Emily isn't who you think she is. She's been keeping a secret. And as her mother, I can't let you get closer to her without knowing the truth." At that moment, footsteps echoed down the stairs. Emily finally appeared, her eyes wide as if she had heard everything. She rushed over, her voice shaking, "Mom, stop. Don't tell him." I stood frozen between them, my mind spinning. What was this secret? Why did Emily look so afraid of me knowing? And why did Claire seem determined to reveal it, no matter the cost? The air grew thick with tension as silence hung between us. My heart beat faster than ever before, and all I knew was this: my relationship, my trust, and maybe even my future were about to change forever. The silence stretched until it felt unbearable, and I finally spoke. "Emily, what's going on? What is it you didn't want me to know?" She bit her lip, her eyes glistening with tears, but before she could answer, her mother stood up and said firmly, "He deserves to know the truth, Emily. You can't keep living in fear. Emily shook her head violently, but Claire turned to me with a painful expression. Daniel, Emily doesn't have a twin, but she's been living 2 lives. My chest tightened as I tried to understand her words. 2 lives? What does that even mean? Claire explained slowly, carefully choosing each word. Emily has a condition. It's not physical, it's psychological. When she was younger, she went through a trauma that left her deeply scarred. Since then, she created another version of herself, a stronger version, to protect her from pain. Sometimes she's the Emily you know, sweet, funny, loving. But other times, she becomes someone else entirely, someone angry, unpredictable, and distant. She didn't want to tell you because she was afraid you'd leave. I felt like the ground had vanished beneath my feet. Memories started flashing back, times when Emily suddenly canceled dates, when her mood shifted without reason, when she disappeared for days and gave vague explanations. I thought it was stress or family problems, but now it all made sense. I looked at Emily, whose tears were now streaming down her face. Daniel, I'm so sorry, she whispered. I just wanted you to see the best parts of me. I didn't want to scare you away. My emotions twisted between shock, confusion, and empathy. I wanted to be angry, but I couldn't. Instead, I reached for her hand. Emily, you should have trusted me. I care about you, all of you. I wish you hadn't hidden it, but I don't want to run away either. She looked at me with such hope and fear at the same time that it nearly broke me. But before I could say more, Claire placed a hand on my shoulder. Her voice was trembling. Daniel, loving Emily is not easy. You'll face nights where she'll push you away, days where she'll act like a stranger, and moments where you'll question if she even wants you. You need to ask yourself, are you ready for that? Her words echoed in my head. Was I ready to love someone with a side she couldn't control? Could I handle the storms as well as the sunshine? Emily squeezed my hand, her eyes begging me not to let go. In that moment, I realized love wasn't just about the easy parts. It was about standing in the fire and choosing not to leave. I don't know how perfect I'll be at it, I said, my voice shaking, but I want to try. I don't want to lose you, Emily. Her sobs broke into a relieved laugh as she threw her arms around me. For the first time that night, I felt the weight lift off her shoulders. Claire watched us silently, her expression softening, almost like she finally believed her daughter could be loved for who she truly was. As the night went on, we talked openly, about Emily's struggles, about the therapy she had started, and about the fears she still carried. It wasn't easy to hear, but it was real, and for the first time, I felt like I knew her completely. Claire even admitted she had been afraid too, afraid that no one would ever accept Emily's truth. But she smiled through her tears as she said, maybe you're different, Daniel. Maybe you'll be the one to stay. That night changed everything. The girl I thought I knew turned out to be more complicated, more fragile, and yet stronger than I ever imagined. And as I held her hand, I knew one thing, love wasn't about perfection, it was about acceptance, even in the face of secrets. So, if you've made it this far, I want to ask you, what would you do in my place? Could you stay, knowing the truth? Let me know in the comments, and don't forget to like this video and subscribe to the channel for more powerful stories like this one. Trust me, you won't want to miss what's coming next.